Greetings and welcome to Education and More's Learn Python 3 Programming at a Snail's Pace. My name is Marcus Gardner and I'm the instructor for this class. In today's video, we're going to talk about your first test. Yes! Alright, now this test has got 9 questions to it, and I want you to pretend that I am standing in front of you watching you do your test. That's the best way to take a test, okay? In other words, no cheating. See how much you can do without looking at past notes, okay? This will tell you what you need to go back and concentrate on, okay? So don't worry if you don't do well on this test. Go back and redo the parts that you forgot how to do, okay? All right, so let's go on. If you are interested in working with me at the end of at least 3 years, then you'll be giving a test in the Philippines in my office. So please pretend that you are sitting in front of me and don't try to cheat. If you can't pass the test, then go back and relearn the material. There is nothing wrong with failing, only in cheating. Unlike many top companies, I am not going to worry about time. I don't care if you get the solution in 10 minutes or 60 minutes. I care about quality and determination. Because I worked myself up from a lowly old entry-level programmer to senior-level programmer. Okay? So I'm willing to give entry-level programmers a chance. So try your best and feel free to go back and relearn the material. Okay? Let's see. I think that's about it for the introduction. So the requirements. Again, I'm saying these requirements as if I'm going to grade the test. Comment each function. You must decide the requirements yourself for each programming assignment. In other words, what limitations do you have on the input? Okay. For example, if you're making a square, what is the minimum and maximum that they can enter? If they enter in a number, does it have to be even or odd or whatever? You have to decide those limitations on yourself. I'm going to give you very little limitations. You have to decide what the programming limitations are. And if a move will put you out of bounds, what do you need to do with that move? Okay? So you need to decide what needs to be done. All variables must be properly named, so code review can be quick. In other words, don't say A is equal to 5. Okay? What's A? All right. So, test question number 1. Attack from outer space. Aliens are invaded Earth. You have a radio, and you always know where the safe house is. But, just like the Barney problem, they might have to move every day. You are in a fenced off area. One corner is -100, -100, all the way to the other corner, the diagonal corner, 100, 100. So 200 on each side of a square. You may not go outside this boundary. We talked about this on the Barney problem, okay? In the Barney problem, we allowed you to go outside the area, okay? But in this problem, you can't go outside. If you reach the safe house, you are safe forever. However, at a random interval, example 1% or 2% or whatever, ask the user for this percentage. For example, if you say 5%, I suggest you make a random number between 1 and 100. And if the number is between 1 and 5, well, then that's it encountered, okay? If you chose 5%. Then you'll be captured by the aliens and have a part of your body replaced with cybernetics. You can ask the user how many parts of your body there are, minimum 5. For example, arms, legs, head, okay, or whatever. If all parts of your body are replaced, then you die. After a part is replaced, you are transported randomly in the fenced off area to begin again. Okay? Next. At the end of the game, if you died, I want you to say how far you were from the safe house before the last beam out. In other words, X positions away and Y positions away. So that kind of means you're going to need to be able to test that. Okay? So you might want to say, to test that, you might want to say number of body parts is 1. Even though I said minimum of 5. Okay? So just to test that part, take out the requirement of 5. Okay? That's one way we do testing. If you lived, then say A, how many parts of your body you lost to the cybernetics? What percentage of your body? In other words, if you had 5 and you lost 1, you lost 20%. Okay? How many total moves you made? And what was the most number of moves you made before beam out or reaching the safe house? In other words, let's say you got captured 4 times. The first time you made 30 moves. The second time you made 70 moves. The third time 50. The fourth time 20. Well, then 70 is the maximum number of moves. Okay? Oh, and the last time you actually survived, it took 49 moves. Whatever. Okay? All right. While moving, just like the Barney problem, you must state which position you and the safe house is at, which direction you moved, 1 of 4, again, just like Barney, you can only move 4 directions, and which direction the safe house moved, 1 of 9, just like the drunk Otis, I think that's his name. If you beamed out, the current number of times out of the maximum times plus your new position. In other words, if this is your first time, this is 1 of 5, if you only allowed 5 times. Okay? And what position that you were randomly transported to. Okay? So, have fun. Again, this should be easily done if you understood the Lotus problem and you can handle the boundaries. All right? And now you also add in some extra, more randomization in this problem. Okay, next, create this figure. Hey, I think this looks familiar. It's actually one of your homework assignments. Oh, well, free test question for you, as long as you did the homework. Okay, I do that a lot in my classes. I sometimes give test questions for the homework. Just sees if they do the homework or not. Many students don't do their homework. Question 3. Put a border around it. Okay, notice all I did was, continue out. See, here was the original star. Here's the original star. So I just continued out the boundary. Okay? Next, create this figure. Square inside of a diamond. Okay? So in other words, I'll give you the hint. It's going to be the middle, 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 middle. Okay? So again, what kind of limitations are there? Can this be any number? Can this be any number? Okay? So you have to decide. That's part of your limitations. I'm not going to say anything more about the limitations for the next problems. Next, create a rectangle. Okay? So allow the user to decide, what rectangle they want. Again, limitations. Okay? Next, process some numbers. Ask for a bunch of numbers between 1 and 100. Say, hi, Mom, if someone enters Mom. Use a continue statement for this. Quit if someone enters Q or big Q. Otherwise, error, and ask for the next number if it's not an integer. Okay? So output, number of A's between 90 and 100. Number of B's between 80 and 89, etc. All the way down to your F's, which are below 60. How many were each? Okay, I'm assuming nobody gets a 0 on this test. Number of even numbers. Don't forget what even is. Number of numbers divisible by 3. The number of errors that you had. Okay, and then the average of all the numbers. So be careful. Okay, only count the numbers. Don't count all entries. Okay, next, enter 3 numbers. Tell me if they are relatively prime to each other. Hopefully you know what that means, but in other words, no factor of one of them will divide any of the other two except the number 1. Example, 2, 5, and 21 are relatively prime. The factors of 2 are only 1 and 2. 1 and 2 do not factor into either of those two. 1 and 5 does not factor into one of those two. 1, 3, 7, 21 does not factor into any of those except for 1. However, 4, 31, and 14 are not, because of 2, which is a factor of 4, will divide 14. So these three numbers are not relatively prime. Find the greatest common divisor. Note, if it's relatively prime, then this will be 1. However, just because it's not relatively prime doesn't mean it can't be 1. For example, 4, 14, 31, the GCD is 1, but it's not relatively prime because only 1 can divide all three of those numbers. Okay. LCM, the least common multiple. For example, 2, 5, and 21, it's 210. Okay. For 4, 14, 31, it's 868. The average of the three numbers, so for 2, 5, 21, it's 9.33333, whatever. The average of the three numbers truncated. In other words, 9.3333 would be 9. Now, I didn't say rounded. I said truncated. So even 9.9874 would be 9. In other words, get rid of the decimal and everything to the right of it. Okay? We call that the lower part. Okay? Now, ask user for the original temperature scale. Okay? Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin. Ask user for the destination temperature scale. Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin. Then convert. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Ask the user for the original temperature also. All right. Make sure you know how to convert. So if you've never, I'm sure you've heard of Fahrenheit and Celsius. Now, if you've had science class, you should know Kelvin. But if you forgot, look it up. Okay. You can easily find the formulas for converting from one to the other. So in other words, you're going to have a function that will convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, Celsius to Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit to Kelvin, Kelvin to Fahrenheit, etc. You need to know all of those. And don't forget what happens if they make a certain choice, like say, I'm not going to ruin it for you. What could possibly happen here? All right. Next, the magic 8 ball. I had this when I was a kid. Let the user enter in questions, quit to quit. Then give random answers like the magic 8 ball. Okay? If you don't know what it is, it's just random answers. Like this one says, don't count on it. For example, am I going to find a lovely wife who will give me my dozen kids? Don't count on it. All right. Next, test question number 9. This one, I want you to actually put the answer to on the YouTube page. Okay, this is the only one I want you to tell the answer to. Tell me about what percentage of the homework problems you did. You know, was you one of my students and did 100%? I don't think so. I know how many cheaters there are out there in the world. Anyway, tell me honestly what percentage of the homework problems you did. And then, what are your goals for this class? Are you hoping to get into a top university? Are you hoping to get a job after going to university? Are you hoping to get a job before going to university? In other words, you don't want to go to university. You just want a good job. Okay? Do you want a job working for me? Do you want a job working for someone else? Now, let me go back again. You are more than perfectly free to choose a job with someone else. But let me warn you, most other companies will care about how long it takes you to answer questions. So please make sure, if you're going to work for someone else, that you can do each of these questions quickly. Okay? So that's one of the reasons why I asked you, after showing you how to do the problem, I think it was tests 9 and 10, or not tests, but programs 9 and 10 or 10 and 11, I forgot, I'm sorry. But where I worked out the solution, I told you to redo it. Okay? If you can redo it over and over, then you can start doing things faster. Okay? And you'll need to be able to do that if you want to pass a what's called a technical interview with a company. Okay, especially if you want to get something higher than entry level. Because after 3 years with me, you don't want entry level. You should be able to go straight into medium. Okay, or mid level as it might be called. All right. How difficult is this class? Is it as easy as I think? Is it extremely hard? I hope not. And are you able to understand me? Okay. All right. There is no homework. Okay. There's no class information for this test. This is just a test. So there's going to be nothing there. Again, do not ask for help. Okay. Pretend it's a regular test. You don't know how to do it? That's fine. Do as much as you can. When you're done, go back over the lessons, especially the parts that are close to one of these problems. I guarantee you, everything we talked about is close to each of these problems. Okay? So go back to the one that's closest to these and redo it. Okay? Learn what I talked about. Do the homework problems that I gave. And then try to test again. Okay? All right. Good luck. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.